Well, a wonderful good morning to you, Grenada 13th, Martinique. It is a really, really glorious day. It's special in more ways than one. And we want to say thanks for waking up at Classic in the morning time. You've been through the night, you up and you're about. It is March 13th. It is literally a day that for many, depending on what side of the fence you are, would forever go stuck in infamy. For some, it's a day of heartache. For others, it's a day of agony. For others, it's a day of jubilation. But for us, the fact that we were alive, it's a day that we can allow ourselves to become the best versions of ourselves. Good morning to you. I'm Joseph Cadore, and welcome to Good Morning Grenada to all our listeners wherever you are on the Classic 105.5 and 105.9 on the FM band. I say a special good morning to all our listeners, to you, wherever you are. Thanks for being part of this morning's conversation. We're giving God thanks and praise because we are alive and we are well. And we are in the land of the living, and being grateful that 45 years on, as we celebrate we observe the anniversary of the revolution, that certainly we'll find it somewhere as we search ourselves deep inside. We'll ask ourselves those questions as we reflect on the last 45 years as to who we are as a people, the challenges that we've been through, and yet not just the challenges we've been through, but the opportunities that are available to us as a people. I do hope that it allows for a time of reflection, for a time when we can forgive, not necessarily forget, but appreciate that the past we cannot change, but ask ourselves, what can we take from the events of 45 years ago? And more so if we contextualize it as we celebrate our 50th anniversary of independence. 50 years as an independent country, 45 years as we celebrate the revolution. Good morning to you, Grenada, and I certainly hope wherever you are, you would recognize that 45 years is a long time. It has come and it has gone, it has happened, and it's probably today's an opportunity not for us to hold bad feelings and grudges, but for us to realize the opportunities that is available to us. So wherever you are, I'm JC. Good morning to you. It's day 2 of Intercall 2024. And the athletes, I want to say a wonderful good morning to you, the athletes, the coaches, the police officers, everybody that comes together to make Intercall the day that it is. You're probably not part of Intercall, so the parents, wherever you go, and make sure that you take charge of the kids, make sure you know what time they're coming home, and all of those things are well organized. But we're going to start with the word of the day, and every day we give you a word that allows us to become better. We add to a repertoire of words, and this morning the word of the day is cacophony. Cacophony, and it is spelled C-A-C-O-P-H-O-N-Y. Cacophony. That's the word of the day. And what does it mean? Cacophony is a mixture of loud and usually harsh, unpleasant sounds. It can refer to an incongruous or chaotic mixture. The sounds of shouting added to the cacophony on the street. Yes? So cacophony, the word of the day, and it is a noun, and it is spelled C-A-C-O-P-H-O-N-Y, and it is a mixture of loud and unusually harsh, unpleasant sounds. And it can also be referred to cacophony, also refers to an incongruous or chaotic mixture. The word of the day, cacophony, and certainly you want to add it to your repertoire of words and see how you can find ways that you can add it in. So, the word of the day. Now, the thought of the day. So you have a word of the day that allows you to, you add to your vocab. And the thought of the day is always good when you wake up, you focus your mind on something positive. And in the end, it's not the years in your life that count. It is the life in your years. And this is deep. It is deep. And in the end, it is not the years in your life that counts, but it's a life in your years. Sometimes we live our life and it is just all empty. We just exist. We wake up every morning and there's hardly little or no purpose to what we do. Our lives become like revolving doors and we just, I wake up because I'm supposed to be here. We go to work because you know what? We expect it to be on the job. But do we enjoy what we do? Is there any purpose? It's not, do we just wake up not even saying being grateful for the life that we live, to live, the people that surround us, the opportunities that are available to us? Is that what we do? Or do we just go through it randomly as though it doesn't matter? Yeah, but either way. So, reminded you for today, the thought of the day, and in the end, it's not the years in your life that count. It is the life in your years. Make sure your life is full of purpose. Your existence is meaningful. You recognize the purpose and you fulfill that purpose. Well, what's trending? Well, here's what I tell you what's trending. King of the Grill is moving to the big parish. Yep, King of the Grill is moving to the big parish. So you want to make sure that you celebrate and you register. Yeah, and this is our second time we head into the big parish, and there's been a call for it for quite some time. It's on May the 4th inside of Progress Park. It's a day of fun, food, and entertainment. You want to make sure you register either to be part of the grilling team or you just want to be part of the activity altogether. So, big parish, wherever you are, Grenada, Maggie, King of the Grill, moves to the big parish. So we encourage you to register now. Yeah, we continue to deal with the tragic incident inside of Carriacou where two visiting couples, they collapsed and died. Reportedly, they arrived in Carriacou on Friday, and they died under what is considered strange circumstances. Yeah, really, really, really strange circumstances. Then we continue to pray for the family. They held a candlelight vigil for the 14-year-old teenager. Carriacou residents, of course, they demonstrated a solemn solidarity over the weekend, gathering for a vigil, and they continue to mourn. I think it is always tragic. Death is one thing, but when death is snatched away in these ugly ways, this ugly fashion, is there ever a glorious element to death? When a young person's life is snatched away in such tragic and really, really unfortunate circumstances, it makes you start thinking. And ultimately, we are in reflection mode today. As former members of the People's Revolutionary Army, the PRA, they convened over the weekend to commemorate the historical significance of March 13th. That event happened over the weekend. Today, as part of our conversation, we will be having two beneficiaries, two persons now that can say, yes, they were part of the revolution and it made an impact. And if you notice, we have been trying to reflect on the benefits, and there's so many benefits. I know it's always easy for us to reflect on the negative elements, and not that you can't change it. The negative elements are there. We cannot change it. And the reality, dwelling on it, really and truly, doesn't really help us in any way, form, or fashion. Yes? At the quarter to the hour, this is going to be the morning edition, a production of our News and Current Affairs Department. And again, we want to say thanks to the newsroom for making that possible. I'm sitting here and I'm scrolling through my phone, and you're looking for something on your device and you just can't find it. Yeah, trying to find my quiz this morning, and I just cannot find it. Timmy, do you by chance have the quiz? For some reason, it just stopped popping up here. I know anyway. I'm going to get to the quiz in just a bit. But again, we want to say to you, reminding you, police students, as all plans for intercall, there will be a zero tolerance to violence, misbehavior, inappropriate behavior. The IGPF is saying and clamoring that you do not go there with any offensive weapons. What is an offensive weapon? An offensive weapon is anything that is or can be adapted into committing a crime. There is that age-old culture of the throwing of the missiles. Guys, folks, it is dangerous. You put water or any object in a bottle and you start throwing it from point A to point B. It's a missile that it connects in the wrong place, and it can create some serious challenges to the person that is actually receiving it. Yes, so you want to keep that in mind. Parents, adults, you are encouraged, and you've been encouraged to, children, first of all, that you should walk with your ID. So, of course, you can be duly identified. Not in all cases that your uniform can suffice. And for those adults who try to impersonate students, there's going to be zero tolerance by the IGPF. I can't assume a fashion in my head why anyone would want to go adorn themselves in their school uniform to go jump with school children. I really and truly can't figure it out. I can't make any sense of it. And why would you want to be there with them? They're not your companions. You want to be able to enjoy the sport. But certainly some strange things really, really and truly do happen. And sometimes we try to understand why it happens. Who would, of course, want to even allow themselves to find themselves in that position? But in fact, it do happen. Well, so be it. It is 18 minutes on to the hour. For those of you that is on radio, we take a break, and with the morning edition of news comes up at the top of the hour. Comes up in just a bit. And those of you listen to television, you get a rebroadcast of last evening's newscast. This is the Sound of Classic. Good morning to all our viewers, those of you that's on radio, Classic 105.5 and 105.9, together with those of you that's on GBN television, or you on Facebook and other social media platforms. A wonderful good morning to you. And we're getting ready for the morning edition of news. We'll be back at the other side of the clock.
Are you a VIP? Have you taken the necessary steps to safeguard your child's health? Let's get it right. Get your child on their vaccination schedule. Our national protection and coverage is our national priority. Our actions will impact Grenada's health and wellness. Let's make childhood immunization and vaccination number one. I am Senator Jonathan Lacrette, and I am a VIP champion. Let's make all our children VIPs, vaccinated, immunized, and protected.
Let's all be VIP champions.
A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs, Be a VIP Childhood Vaccination and Immunization Campaign in collaboration with UNICEF and the Pan American Health Organization.
At Frangipani Salon and Spa, we offer a variety of services. We also have packages for weddings, graduation, and birthdays. We do manicures, pedicures, massage, facials, waxing. We cater for men, women, and children. We have packages. We are located in the White Gun area in the building on the all social platform. Our contact information is 414-8943.
4 police officers attached to the South St. George Police Station have been charged and will soon face the disciplinary board within the Royal Grenada Police Force. Rena Pierre-Thomas reports.
Constables 224 George and 520 Batiste, Corporal 624 Edwards, and Detective Sergeant Lewis are slated to present their defense before the disciplinary board within the Royal Grenada Police Force. Their charges stem from investigations led by Commissioner of Police Don McKenzie into the events surrounding the escape of 3 prisoners from the South St. George Police Station on February 18th that led to the death of 2 U.S. nationals. Prime Minister and Minister for National Security Dickon Mitchell announced the charges against the officers during a press conference on Tuesday.
They have been charged with various offenses under the Police Act, ranging from making a false statement, permitting the escape of a prisoner, and breaches of standing orders in various counts. These officers, however, are also entitled to due process and to have their fair day at the disciplinary hearing. The necessary procedures and safeguards will be put in place to ensure that they have proper representation and that they have the right to defend themselves. But when the process is completed, the chips will fall where they have to fall.
Following their escape from the police station, St. Andrew residents Trevon Robertson, Ron Mitchell, and Atiba Stanislaus allegedly hijacked a catamaran named Simplicity in the Grandance area with its owners on board. It is assumed that the three killed the couple, Ralph Hendry and Kati Bandel, on their way to neighboring St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where they were captured and extradited to Grenada. The prisoners are back in the hands of the Royal Grenada Police Force and now face a string of additional charges, non-capital murder and kidnapping. Prime Minister Mitchell, while disclosing details of the investigations, emphasized the importance of adhering to established procedures. He noted that had the prisoners been placed in the three holding cells, there would have been no opportunity for their escape. Furthermore, Mitchell highlighted that warnings were issued regarding the high risk posed by the three men.
Because the investigation has revealed that the 4 individual cells at the South St. George Police Station had secure, functioning, and proper locking mechanisms. However, the 3 prisoners had not been placed inside of the individual cells which had the secure locking mechanism. But instead, at the time of their escape, they were in a corridor which had burglar bars and which were immediately located outside of the 3 or 4 individual locking cells. By their being there, it allowed them to bend the wrought iron or iron grill that secures that corridor area and to escape.
Additionally, the Minister for National Security revealed that scrutiny has been extended to the leadership of the South St. George Police Station with ongoing investigations into their role in the incident.
The leadership at this station is a matter that requires attention as well. And the Commissioner of Police has also commissioned an investigation to review the role of the leadership at the station at the time. And when that investigation is completed, given that the leadership falls for the purposes of disciplinary purposes to the Public Service Commission, the necessary report will be submitted to the Public Service Commission, and the Public Service Commission will then choose to do what it is empowered to do.
The charged officers will continue to fulfill their duties with full salary pending the outcome of the disciplinary inquiries. Rena P. Thomas, GBN News.
The man charged for the death of 14-year-old Esther Patterson made his first court appearance today, Tuesday morning, just as Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell addressed the issue of violence against women and children during a press conference. Christina John reports.
Prime Minister and Minister for National Security Deacon Mitchell called for a collective approach to dealing with the issue of violence against women and children. His appeal came against the backdrop of Friday's killing of 14-year-old Esther Patterson on the sister island of Carriacou.
And it is particularly devastating and disheartening when we wake up to news that a 14-year-old has been killed. Think of the consequences, what that does to our friends and her family and those who go to school with her. To recognize that it is people who are known to them, who are supposed to love, care, and protect and cherish them, are the ones perpetuating this unimaginable pain and violence upon them. And so I call upon all of us to recognize that now is not the time for blaming or finger pointing or calling for the death sentence. It is a time for us to go back to our values, our behavior, and the sense of community that we need to be honest and accept that we have a problem as a nation and that we need all of us to tackle it.
The National Security Minister denounced the lack of sensitivity displayed by some individuals in their social media postings, noting the potential to add further grief to affected families. He called for good sense to prevail.
And we need to be mindful that when there is criminal conduct, that someone is a victim. And and we ought to have regard for the families and the victims of crime in our public pronouncements. And it is not a time to score cheap political points or to try to appear who is first out the block with a comment or with condemnation or with hysterical rhetoric, merely to appear as a strong man or a strong woman. Crime affects all of us, and they need to be discreet, empathetic, and sensitive, particularly when they are victims, should be borne in mind.
The Child Protection Authority has intervened to provide support to the affected family and to aid with police investigation. Corporate Communications Officer at the Child Protection Authority is Donella Huston. The CPA, she said, sends an appeal to anyone who knows or believes a child is exposed to abuse to report same to the CPA or the police.
Since the incident occurred, the Child Protection Authority team has been on the ground in Carriacou. We currently have one social worker and 2 counselors providing some psychological support to family and friends of Esther Patterson. The CPA team has also been assisting police officers with taking statements where statements need to be taken. We must also empower our children to use their voice and speak up if they feel unsafe in any situation. And we remind our adults that it is our responsibility to listen to our children and seek assistance from the relevant authorities, including the Child Protection Authority or the police, when any such reports of abuse or neglect or violence is made. Our emergency number is 473-533-6990.
The Prime Minister added that crimes committed against non-Grenadians and Grenadians should be treated with the same measure of sensitivity.
So while we want to have a lot of attention brought to a crime that may involve non-Grenadians because of the impact on tourism or how we think people may perceive or view Grenada as a result of a crime that affects a visitor or a non-citizen, it is just as important to appreciate that when crime impacts Grenadians, that they deserve the same attention, they deserve the same outreach, and the same sense of sensitivity, privacy, and empathy.
30-year-old John Kendall Alexis of Lauriston, Carriacou, was charged with the offense of non-capital murder for intentionally causing the death of Esther Patterson by unlawful harm. Alexis made his first court appearance Tuesday morning at the St. George's No. 1 Magistrates Court before Magistrate Francine Foster. He was remanded to prison and will make his next court appearance on April 16. Christina John, GBN News.
The Royal Grenada Police Force has embarked on a mission to review the infrastructure and procedures that govern the transportation, supervision, and holding of prisoners within the RGPF. More in this Rena Pierre-Thomas report.
Following a series of prisoner escapes, including 4 successful escapes and an attempt one in recent weeks, the Royal Grenada Police Force has initiated a comprehensive review of its infrastructure and procedure governing the transportation, supervision, and custody of prisoners. Commissioner of Police Don McKenzie has already called upon all department heads to undertake these reviews, as confirmed by Minister for National Security Dickon Mitchell.
In addition, the Commissioner has already issued communication to the divisional heads highlighting the following: a comprehensive review and assessment of all police stations infrastructure and specifically police station cells infrastructure. And so a police force-wide assessment of the cell infrastructure is on the way. And that specifically includes the cells at the police station. Review and, if necessary, the strengthening of the outer cell doors of all police stations where cells are located to minimize and reduce the risk of unauthorized access is currently on the way.
During a press conference on Tuesday morning, Prime Minister Mitchell elaborated on the planned reviews, emphasizing the examination of procedures relating to the transportation of prisoners to and from courthouses.
A review of the protocols for escorting prisoners to and from police stations and to and from courthouses or any other places that they may be required to visit, and the necessary training associated with this has to be implemented. The investment in equipment to transport, secure equipment to transport prisoners to and from the courtrooms, to and from the prisons, and to and from the police stations also needs to occur.
Additionally, the Minister for National Security outlined some of the upgrades and charges that will be implemented across various police stations in Grenada to enhance the security and prevent further incidents.
The implementation of self-contained cell clusters with integrated toilet and bathroom facilities will also be implemented. The enhanced and comprehensive use of closed-circuit television or CCTV to cover entrances and exits to cells and the cells themselves will be implemented across all police stations that have cells. And the development of a classification system for prisoners based on their risk profile and the necessary protocols that comes with that also has to be undertaken.
Rena Thomas, GBN News.
Despite recent incidents of crimes and violence in the country, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell maintains that Grenada is still a safe place. While addressing the nation at a press conference Tuesday morning, the country leader said that the few isolated incidents that occurred between February and March are hardly seen in Grenada.
Grenada still is one of the safest countries in the world. It still is one of the safest countries in the Caribbean Basin. It is still one of the safest countries in the OECS. But safety is completely dependent on human behavior. It isn't something external to our behavior. And if we wish to keep it that way, we have to come to terms with the fact that there is a significant portion, still in the minority, of Grenadians that we need to address.
The Prime Minister had this advice for Grenadians.
So while we want to have a lot of attention brought to a crime that may involve non-Grenadians because of the impact on tourism or how we think people may perceive or view Grenada as a result of a crime that affects a visitor or a non-citizen, it is just as important to appreciate that when crime impacts Grenadians, that they deserve the same attention, they deserve the same outrage, and the same sense of sensitivity, privacy, and empathy. And so forgive me if as the Prime Minister of the country, you did not find me eager to highlight a bad deed and to promote it and to publish it. I'm not sweeping it under the carpet, but I see no need to promote it.
Get ready to witness the ultimate showcase of talent, speed, and determination at the 2024 Carifta Games. This prestigious event brings together the best young athletes from across the Caribbean, competing for glory like never before. With the motto, many people, one region, celebrating athletics, Carifta embodies the essence of Caribbean unity through sports, igniting a flame that illuminates the future of sports in the region. Don't miss out on this incredible event taking place at the Karani James Athletic Stadium from Saturday 30th March to Monday 1st April 2024. Get your tickets now at Grenadian Optical or visit gotofed.com and secure your spot to be part of this extraordinary celebration of athleticism.
Welcome back. 23 students of the St. Joseph's Roman Catholic School at Palm Road, St. David, spent the last 2 days at the Produce Chemist Laboratory at Tantine St. George as one of the requirements for their Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment. Christina John will tell us more.
This exercise aided in fostering their creativity and broadening their awareness of the agro-processing industry, particularly the production and use of alternative flours. This hands-on approach not only helped the children appreciate the diversity of ingredients available to them, but also promotes a healthier and more adventurous approach to eating. The students explained the process by utilizing sweet potato, cassava, and breadfruit.
And today we come here to do a project for our CPA. You could use the flour to make dumpling, cakes, pancakes, and others. Today
I'm making cassava flour. Yeah, you have to wash, get it scrubbed, yeah, peel.
My name is Kylie Murray. I'm 11 years old and I am from St. Joseph Catholic. Learning how to make flour from cassava, breadfruit, sweet potato and plantain. Basically use them to make bread, cakes, pancakes and etc. First you have to wash the thing, then you cut it up and you peel it, you cut it up and then you put it in the citrus water so it will not turn black in color. After that, you could put it to dehydrate, then grind it.
First, you have to clean it, scrub it down and thing. After, you peel it and you put it and you separate it on some boards and then you put it in the heat dryer.
CPA teacher at the school, Carol Ross, cites this as a means of cutting costs, as some of these products are readily available at home.
We are here today as part of our CPEA group project. So we are doing alternative sources of flour. So we are here so that they can see the process involved in making the 4 types of flour that we chose. It is to fulfill one of the aspects of the CPEA assessment exam. So they have to do a group project, and the grade from it would go towards the final score. But we're also hoping that from them doing the learning how to make the different types of flour, they can go home and do it so that their parents can actually explain to their parents how they can go about making it, and they can use some of the products that they have available at home.
Ian Bartholomew, representative at the Chemist Lab, said she believes giving the students such an experience in processing should be an exciting venture. Bartholomew wished the students success in their upcoming CPE exams.
This is not the first time students came to us to assist them with their CPEA project. I think alternative flour is important because we do have so much persons who are sick, who come down with celiac disease. That means the gluten in wheat flour makes them sick. And there are persons who are just gluten intolerant. Then we have persons who just want to live a healthier lifestyle, persons who just want a change in taste, flavor, variety. So here today, I think it's important that the students learn of alternative flour, since agriculture is one of our main pillars of our economic pillar, and agro-processing by extension is another extension of that pillar. And I think it's important that students can see they can in the future go ahead and do processing as a business. It doesn't have to be flour, of course, it could be anything else, but I think we're here as the basis. This is the basic. And they can also go home and they could get this done home. They could show their parents, their other siblings how this is done.
The Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment will be held on May 15th and 16th. Christina John, GBN News.
Former national footballer and full-time student Connie John is committed to assisting as many athletes as possible through her charity, Girls in Sports Foundation. John told our news desk the foundation serves as a reminder that through hard work and determination, anything is possible. Janelle McDonald takes up this report.
One of Grenada's leading female footballer and former national player, Connie John, has started an initiative aimed at assisting athletes who are currently pursuing studies and are faced with financial challenges. Connie says the many challenges she faced during her undergraduate program at the University of the West Indies inspired her to start the Girls in Sports Foundation to assist future sporting stars.
I have seen I've gone through so many challenges while pursuing my bachelor's and currently doing my master's in marketing at the University in Florida. It's been a rough ride. It's been a crazy roller coaster, and I, for one, do not like roller coasters. And going through these challenges, financial challenges, like when I did my undergrad, it was bittersweet. It was chaos and still comfort at the same time. Going through that and then not being able to pay for tuition, getting locked out of your e-learning because you don't have the money to pay. I ended up getting a scholarship from the school, and that helped me pay for my tuition, and that pushed me to 2 years of studies at university. And I'm just saying this because without these people, without the help, I would have never been able to complete my bachelor's. I would have never been able to sit here today. And this is the reason why I decided to start the Girls in Sports Foundation, because the suffering that I've gone through, the things that I've been through, I do not ever want anyone to go through that without knowing that someone will be there. Like they have no one, they're just alone all the time. And
John recently launched a GoFundMe page to provide further assistance for two particular footballers. While the foundation is relatively new, Connie is urging the public to assist in any way possible.
This GoFundMe now for Shiranda Charles, one of the first mentees. Currently we do have 4 mentees right now, but for now we're working on Shiranda Charles. It's a GoFundMe, and she's currently going to graduate from Cadore College, doing an associate degree, and she's about to start in the fall. She's going to be studying business management with a minor in sports management at St. Martin's University. Asking the public to support Miss Shiranda Charles. As they say back home, one man cook a full of basket. So if we all come together and give something, it will go a long way, and she'll be able to fulfill her dreams and make her community proud and Grenada on a whole.
Girls in Sports Foundation can be found on all major social media platforms.
With growing concerns over citizen safety amidst a series of recent violent incidents, questions have arisen regarding adequate protection measures for citizens. GBN raised the issue of potentially amending legislation to permit civilians to carry non-lethal self-defense tools like mace, pepper spray, and tasers. Prime Minister and Minister for National Security Deacon Mitchell responded to a question on this during Tuesday's press briefing.
That's a good question. I will admit that the matter has not come up for discussion at the policy level, and I'm not in a position to say yes or no to the consideration. But I think as part of the discussion on public safety and individual safety, I suppose that's an issue that, in light of your question, will certainly be flagged. I don't know whether the commissioner or assistant commissioner may have any view on it, but at this stage, it's not a matter that has been discussed.
Yeah, that's the kind of musical energy, the vibe you can take in all morning. Bob Marley, Buffalo Soul, yeah. One love, positive vibes in the morning time. 12 minutes gone past the hour of 7 o'clock. To you, wherever you are, welcome back to the Morning Buzz. Good morning, Grenada. And we want to say thanks for being part of the conversation. Want to say good morning to our viewers, those of you that's on social media, YouTube, Facebook. Good morning to Valerie. Good morning to you, Lean. Good morning to you wherever you are. Thanks for being part of that conversation. Thanks for being part of the Jimmy and family. And as I intimated this morning, I have two wonderful guests with me. One in studio and the other joining me via the Zoom platform. And joining me from across the globe, actually. When I say to you across the globe, he's actually joining us out of Germany. No, he's not some strange individual that just happened to be residing there. He's the son of the soil, a product of the revolution, and he's going to be with us this morning. Maurice Franklin, the Nutmeg Queen. The Nutmeg Queen is also online. Marilyn Gordon is also online. I probably will try to determine if there is a related relation. What is the relation to my guest in studio? But I want to say good morning to you, my dear Lady Gordon, and good morning to you, Dr. Nurse. How are you, sir?
Great here this morning on a day like this that bring back so many memories from 45 years ago. Is absolutely wonderful morning for me. Thinking back about the morning of March 13, 1979, and to be able now to talk to the Grenadian people as our comrade leader did in 1979, that is me a great honor, a great pleasure to be in his foot here this morning to represent the comrade Morris Bishop here today.
Well, 45 years on, the spirit lives on, and you seem so strong within you. Lady Gordon, I mean, you surprised me. They gave me a name, and I'm like, oh, that's who it is. You know, those episodes of readers, you're expecting a guest, and then you realize, oh. You think your guest is the perfect stranger, and then you realize, how are you, my dear lady? It has been a while.
I am fine. I am very good.
You're very good. So. Yeah. Let's delve into the conversation because time really flies when you start having the conversation. And I'm going to kickstart ladies first, as you can well appreciate. Valerie, 45 years on, we've celebrated the 45th anniversary coming on the cusp of our 50th anniversary of our independence. You just juxtaposition both independence, 5 years later the revolution, 45 years on. Your thoughts?
Well, good morning.
Good morning
to you,
again.
Joseph Cadore. Thanks for having us have this conversation here this morning. And good morning to all of your listeners in Grenada and abroad. I must start by saying it's a wonderful feeling today at 45 years. But it is even more wonderful because we are at the intersection of three major celebrations in our nation right now.
Okay.
I start with the 50th anniversary, like you just mentioned, which, as everybody knows, gave us a wonderful feeling, was very successful. We're also celebrating the March 8th, which is International Women's Day. We did so on Friday, and there's a little bit of sad news associated with that, but we'll come to that later. And of course, the 45th anniversary of the revolution. So we're in a very unique yet powerful intersection of our life as a country.
Excellent. We know that the revolution, we think about 45 years on, the emotions, you listen to Dr. Nurse give his opening salvo, and the emotions it is rich, it is raw, but yet there's a grey side to it, and very often you get the sense, Dr. Nurse, that 45 years on, and while we're going to focus on the positives, but you can't help but admit it, that 45 years on, the same way you had the same fervor that you expressed now, there are others who still, for some reason, hold on and have not quite been able to manage the events of 45 years as it happened. Your thoughts on that, though, as you look back, what would you say to them?
Well, I would have to go deep into my own history to be able to address any emotions and objectivities related to the 1979 March 13 revolution. As a youth growing up as a real tomboy, my mother from Grenada Street, my father from the Carnage, going to Heinze School, and my first 10 years in this life was very, very blessed. I grew up on Lotus Lane, so I played in Government House. I studied in the public library downtown. I made friends with one of the former Prime Minister of Grenada, that is Professor Nicholas Prophet. Through his guidance with his sons, I was able to play cricket, football, and had so many amenities that I would not have had as a little poor boy, little black boy going up on the lane. But with that kind of cross-section of interaction of the different people in our society, and then going to GBSS that trumps it all, where I encountered teachers like another Prime Minister, Mr. George Brizan, and many others there who were the leaders in the 1979 revolution as a cadet at GBSS, as what you can say, as secretary of the student council, right in that year, in 1979. So that feeling and emotion that remains with me, I was actually studying that night of March 13th, the morning of March 13th, when we looked at from GBSS compound and looked at the fort, looked at the traffic around Tarantine area, and then heard that radio announcement, which was unbelievable, but that was in the making because there were the blocks around the whole of Grenada, especially in the Tongue region, and where we sat on the blocks and we dreamt about some change in Grenada. The change needed to come, and that is what gave me that emotion today. Like my clock have stopped, because after leaving Grenada in 1980 to go to Cuba and then finding myself here in the GDR, 1 year after I was given a scholarship. I was supposed to have been in the GDR in 1980, but I ended up coming here 1 year later. So that kind of emotion that I have still remains very vivid in my mind's eye. My life that I've developed thereafter is simply as a result of the 1979 revolution, with all the mistakes and the impact that we had, maybe in a negative situation that really culminated in the demise in 1983. This is just one snapshot moment in the era of the revolution that had a different aim and a direction, which was simply meant to bring food to the people, to bring housing to the people, to bring education, and the development of our scope psychologically, socially, and economically. And I would say to any Grenadian at this point in time, just step back in retrospect and look back at what the Grenada Revolution have done and how it has encouraged, how it has motivated most of our Grenadians that are existing today, especially those Grenadians that were born around 1980, 1978, that the Conrad Morris called these individuals the flowers of the revolution, the pioneers, and today we have a prime minister who is definitely one of these flowers that have blossomed to rule this country and take it into another dispensation where we are going in this point in time, celebrating the 50th, up. This is the era of transformation.
Up, the era of transformation. Val, you're listening to Dr. Nurse.
I want to comment on that.
Your thoughts?
I am itching to comment on that. Thank you very much, Dr. Nurse. I must say that in any era of tremendous upheaval, as what took place on the 13th of March, begun on the 13th of March, there will be several emotions. Mine was fair. I was 8 months pregnant with my first daughter.
Okay.
My ex-husband, her father, had left the night before and secured me in his sister's house without a word. The first time I heard about revolution, baby, was well, I mean, apart from hearing about the Haitian Revolution or Fedor, maybe in history class in high school.
That's textbook.
The first time I heard about revolution as something in your face that is going to impact on your life was at 7 or 7 something on the morning of March 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you could imagine. And we were very young. I mean, I don't want to date myself, but we were very young at the time. What is this? So there was a lot of suspense. There was a lot, and you were following, you were glued to the radio in the hope that this thing would unfold and you get to understand what is happening. And people around you just didn't know. So eventually, over the course of the hours and the days, we got to understand what it was. And of course, Maurice Bishop's powerful voice came through on the radio saying, this revolution is for food, it is for workers to improve their wages, etc., etc. I want to acknowledge very clearly and very, very powerfully the feelings and sentiments of all our people that abounded at that time. So some people would have been in pain, despite the fact that the majority of people were celebrating. And even those who celebrated initially were in fear and doubt. Mm-hmm. And then within hours, people started to mobilize themselves. People went to the police station, to what. But there was a lot of fear and doubt initially. Mm-hmm. And it's important for us as a nation in our process of reconciliation and moving forward to understand and accept, and we all do. Those of us who have been engaged in the revolution, because we ourselves have gone through similar emotions over the time. Mm-hmm. So we acknowledge whatever emotions people felt, and this is part of the healing process. If you don't name it, if you don't accept it, you will not be able to heal it. So let me, for all the people out there who have suffered whatever type of pain or so, let me acknowledge, and let me also appeal to you to say, 45 years later, let's hope that we can move forward. We can hold hands together with all our different kinds of pains and emotions and work together to move forward. And I think the 50th anniversary of the independence gave us a theme that encourages us, that embraces us to do that.
Just to add to the conversation, so that persons, we keep it as balanced as possible. And so while we're attempting to highlight the positives, we certainly don't want to trample over anybody's emotions.
Absolutely.
We don't want to pretend as though that sense of trepidation, reservation, you think that comes naturally in any process of change?
As tumultuous and as huge as this was, mm-hmm. until people start to process, well, what is this really? If you are in the space of the immediate action and you have a reaction immediately, then it's either pain or joy or whatever. But for a lot of people, it was a lot of hesitance. You know, you just didn't suspense. You just didn't know for almost the first day mm-hmm. of because this was a huge change. And remember, March 13th came after years of Bloody Monday, the killing of Rupert Bishop. There was a lot of demonstrations there was a lot of other nurses demonstrations, the students demonstration. So over that period, and even some of the opposition to us getting independence 5 years, so that 5-year period, if you go back a bit, was very complex.
So are you saying now that objectively, you saw this was a train already in motion? This wasn't something that just happened, you wake up on March 13th, and it just a snap of the finger, knee-jerk reaction.
Absolutely not. There are many things that led to it. It might have taken a different turn, a different form, but if you think about it, there were many things that led to it.
Many things that led to that is our word. Dr. Nurse, and we want to say to the folks that you're actually in Germany right now. In case they were wondering, sit on the soil that is in Germany. Lady Gordon is saying this was something in motion already. March 13th was the birth, or it literally was the day, the realization of that moment of change. Is that the same sentiments that you share? That there was the current economic situation, the social construct, mm-hmm. the emotional makeup of the people, mm-hmm. oppression led to what happened mm-hmm. eventually transpired on the 13th of March?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. In that period in the 1970s, there were and especially in the year 1979. There were these changes internationally. We had revolution in Iran. We had revolution in some of the African countries. We had revolution in Nicaragua. We had the movements in the Latin America zone that were the call for international change with respect to the development of our society amidst the economic theories, social theories of developing nation to become independent and self-sufficient. In the era that was the culmination of the colonial systems in a number of different countries. And us in Grenada, we had that struggle from since the beginning of the 70s with a little bit of aggression that the Gary regime was exerting on youth and individuals who were trying to express themselves freely. I remember as a youth trying to imitate my bigger brothers and other people in the society, where the question of black consciousness, the question of black power, the question of our outward look. That's why I started first to plait my hair and to become a dreadlocks thinking person. After hearing the music of Bob Marley in those era, there was definitely a feeling and an emotion that we need to have made a change. Even though my parents were dead Gary. My father was a friend of Eric Matthew Gary because he worked with him in Aruba. And my mother, whenever Eric Gary passed on the lane from playing tennis in Tantin, he would stop by our house just next to Blue Danube, and we would exchange with him. I had nothing personally against anybody in Grenada at that point in time, but against policies that was not geared for a general development of each and every, all and sundry Grenadians at that point in time. So when the call came to pick up arms and the call came to go abroad and study, I automatically said yes, and I was a very obedient kid. But when the call for the revolt gave me the task to come to East Germany, I defied my father, who at that point in time were ready to pack up all his younger children, I included, to go to Canada, which every one of my family did from 11, 12 children, all in North America. I was the only one that decided to come beyond the Iron Curtain, and 45 years after, I'm still here. But in that 45 years, that development that I have gone through, being here in East Germany and focusing on all the necessary stage of development that I was given that task as a geologist to come to Germany for 7 long years, with us going back to Grenada at that point in time. Shouldn't the intervention or invasion have occurred in 1983, I decided, yes, I'm going to take on that challenge because it was a necessity for Grenada to develop its oil and gas, its geothermal energy, and all the question about our landscape that we are having today, climate change impact. These are the specialities that I would bring to the table and have been bringing to the table from afar, even though being ostracized from coming back to Grenada. I'm not here by choice. I'm here because I was kept out of Grenada after a number of different trials and attempts from my side, reaching out to prime ministers in Grenada from yesteryear to today. And today is the only call I've got from this present prime minister to help to serve in whatever capacity that I can do. That is all responsible from the move that the revolution, the task that the comrades have given me, and I don't gesture when it comes to my commitment and my responsibility. I always say, Grenada first, I second, and not what Grenada can do for me, but what I could do for Grenada, and I will prepare to give all my last breath for Grenada, and I emphasize it by you can see me wearing this GBSS t-shirt here today, now that the intercall is going on. That is the school that laid the foundation, that of all the schools I've been to here in Germany, there's no other better school than the GBSS and Heinz School. All these information that this type of training that I got, place me in the position.
Well, let me ask you though. And I was saying to somebody, therein lies the power of intercall. All of a sudden, you almost caught me off guard. Yeah. Well, let me ask you. It's interesting that when you left Grenada from the period of a revolution, you've been to Germany, and if we remember historically, 1981, Ronald Reagan, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down those walls. We've seen the fall of the Berlin Wall. You've had the luxury, while most of us we heard of it. You've had the luxury of seeing that revolution, that change in Grenada, and you've experienced and you're living that change in Germany. Just take 2 minutes with me. Grenada Revolution, the revolution that took place in Germany. You're probably thinking, I must be the happiest man alive to be able to have experienced both.
Happy from one standpoint to just live these moments, but the impact of all of these international geopolitical changes has adversely affected my life personally and the life of my family, who I made here as been here for over all these years. And as Val mentioned, as she said, she was pregnant at the eve of the revolution. When I left Grenada, my school girlfriend, she was also pregnant, and I didn't see my kid till 8 years down the road in 1988 when I came back to Grenada for the first time on a 2-week scouting mission to see if I would be accepted into the Grenada environment. But that was a dreadful moment for all of us students who were studying or who studied in the Soviet Union, in the GDR, in Cuba. So that was a dread time, and I had to come back to Germany. And when I come back to Germany again, my first daughter with my German wife was not born just at the fall of the Berlin Wall. And I remember vividly having that kind of emotion. I just came back from Grenada to see my first daughter, and now I'm coming here. My girlfriend is telling me that she's pregnant, and I'm standing with my legs wide apart. I want to go home, and I have a kid here. I'm saying I cannot leave one that is unborn to come back to Grenada. So I wanted to accommodate all these situations. But when the Berlin Wall fell, and what is happening today with the wars that is going on right now in the Ukraine is a direct response, a direct outcome of that gentleman's agreement that Mikhail Gorbachev made at the Berlin Wall, when he said that the NATO would not move an inch further than the Cold War demarcation that is ended at the Berlin Wall. And what have we seen today? The movement that east, just a stepping stone in front of Moscow. I will not say that I'm in agreement with the kind of measures that President Putin has taken at the moment. But these are international historical moments that we need to put in context to understand what is going on. Let me give you an example.
But before we go, I don't want to... Let's we go. I don't want to, and of course, while it's important, respectfully, because time is limited, and I know the conversation. I can still hear that militancy in your voice, and we can see where it's coming from. But what I wanted us to focus on, as we look at the revolution, one of the pillars was that of educating the masses. And we talk about the historical context of the literacy rate in Grenada, where it was. And one of the programs that the CPE, Value, a little birdie sent to me that you were at the middle of this initiative to literally transform the minds of the average Grenadian.
Absolutely. And I mean, it is often said that and I don't know who to give credit to for this, but people might, I think it's Maya Angelou, people might not remember what you did. They may not remember what you said, but they remember how you made them feel, and that goes with them forever.
Right.
And I think this is one of the things about the revolution, especially about this literacy program, because until today, as you know, People continue to talk about it, how they felt. Last year on March 13th, somebody did an interview of a young man who had seen his grandparents and some of the workers from the estate in Mount Horn who had gone to the CPE program, and the kind of sense of pride it gave them. And so it was a pivotal part of the work of the revolution, because in the first phase of the revolution, the focus was on basic needs. And the literacy rate, if you think about when that happened in 1979, we hadn't come too far from slavery, the estate and the plantation, and very low levels of literacy in the country.
True.
And many people learned to read and write, and unfortunately, it was not carried forward, because if you learn to read and write and you're not practicing, you could lose the skill. But they remember how it made them feel. The parents who were able now to assist feel a little confidence in trying to help their kids with their homework or go to the bank and fill up a form. It remains in the country. And at some point in this conversation, I hope we get to the point where we look at the lessons and how it will take us forward, especially as we celebrate in 50 years. Because I have to tell you, precisely because of that work that I was involved in, and not alone, with a team of people, the Didacus Jews and the Merle Clark and Montgomery Alexander, we had parish mechanisms and representatives that were engaging and undertaking the program at the parish level, at the community level. People still are asking for it, and people are saying to me, we need it because there are kids going up in the primary and secondary school system being raced along who still can't read and write. You'll be surprised. Up to today, people are saying that. So we've had a bit of reversal in the sense of not continuing the program. But I just want to put on record that, again, people are complaining that we have an issue and we need to take an approach to dealing with it. We had over 1,500 volunteers across the country.
Was that one of the highlights, one of the elements of the revolution that gave it the strength and that fervor, that sense of volunteerism, patriotism, commitment to country?
One of the things, the lessons that I hope we will be able to use now is the issue of using social capital, the value of social capital. The Community School Day program that complemented the National In-Service Training program for the teachers. So while the teachers were in training on the Friday, all the primary school teachers, community people looked after the kids in school and taught them other things, gardening and other things, on that Friday. So across Grenada, we had people in the community who came into the schools to teach. The road repair, if you think of what it would have costed for labor to fix the roads, the international airport, I remember people like Alimenta Bishop and Mark Cape, Angela Cape and Miss Simeon doing fundraising to motivate people. Look at the airport today. I mean, we could not have built an airport with those small tea party funds and so. Right. But the energy that it brought and the courage it gave our ministers to go out there and find the resources is unbelievable. Fixing the roads, cleaning the drains, that level of community service and the social capital that we were able to use as a country without mineral resources and so is I mean, incomparable. And there are lessons for us for today.
We're keeping our eyes on the clock, 20 minutes onto the hour of 8 o'clock. We take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll open up the lines and we'll continue the conversation as we reflect on the revolution, 45 years. My guest this morning, Lady Gordon and Dr. Nurse, who's joined us out in Germany. Master Control, quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
My name is Alimaka Motley. I've been here doing nails since 2017. Me being self-employed, I have realized that paying the NIS benefits me now and even when I retire. By the time I'm 65, I will be receiving contributions back from NIS. So I benefit because I'm self-employed. Anything can happen. If anything happens to you while you're at work, you've got a bad cold, you have the COVID, you have dengue, we have all these diseases that's plaguing us at the moment. NIS NIS will be giving you back some form of money when you're ill. So I would encourage all small business persons to sign up with NIS now.
Served Grenada for decades, we are the #1 and largest electrical supplier.
Hi, welcome to Sunny Electrical. How may I help?
We offer electrical wire and accessories, tools, and appliances for all residential, commercial, and industrial applications, which is what we are known for. And we expanded our products with new innovative ways to modernize your home. New homeowners will be captivated in our lighting showrooms.
Some more pendant lights here. These are very multifunctional because they can work for kitchens, living rooms, bedrooms.
We have a wide selection of lighting, ranging from indoor to outdoor and solar. We are also available for site visit services to assist you with selecting the perfect light for your forever home. We are located at Dusty Highway in Grenada and St. George. Sudden Electrical. Best value, expert advice, quality products. We hope to see you soon.
But when you need someone to help you to your feet, I'll be that beacon to your highest peak. I'll be right next to you, no, I will never leave. Come on, take my hands, we got everything we need. Cause you can look to me, whenever you're in need. Just call on me and I'll be on my way. I'll be by your side, never to divide. The light that shines our way. Wherever your road leads, we'll be right there with you. Wherever your road leads, we'll make your dreams come true. Next time, next time, next time, next to you.
Nexa Credit Union, with you wherever your road leads.
Welcome back to the program. 17 minutes on to the hour. My guest this morning, Valerie Steele, live in studio with me, Dr. Nurse, joining us from Germany. Let's go to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Hello.
Yes, caller. You're alive. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, well, I have no problem with the revolution. The revolution was a very open-minded for Grenadian, because the thing I would do, the colonial master see, when you're blind, you lead them blind so we could control them better. And the revolution didn't want that. The revolution always put its foot on these things. You don't want to see the blind. You know, I wish you all the best. Long live the revolution.
Thank you very much, sir. He's saying revolution was about
opening the people's eyes,
being illuminated.
Yes.
Thinking beyond the confines. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. So we were talking about that education drive, and again, Dr. Nurse, you could feel free to chime in as well. Mm-hmm. You may not have been part of it on the ground, but certainly you were able to benefit from that movement for change. As you said, a little poor Grenadian boy who got an opportunity to be part of an idea, a movement of change. Mm-hmm. And I think, Val, this is what I think very often that we fail to realize, that the revolution was not about killing anybody. It was killing the doctrines, really and truly, the negativity, and taking us to a different point in life where we could see beyond the plantation and realize that there is hope, there is life beyond what we know.
Absolutely. And remember, the education, while the mass education was at the level of illiteracy and functional literacy, mm-hmm. the revolution also secondary education, to make it free, provides books and uniforms to families who can afford, provide meals and free milk, so to make sure that kids are able to access the education. Free. The NTS provided lower fares for buses for people to be able to travel. And mm-hmm. then in the first year of the revolution, 50 young people from poor families mm-hmm. were able to go to do a university, a degree program in Cuba. Think about the transformational effect that has. The 50 persons in their families now even if they have 2 children each, the impact, that's 100, and you multiply that further to their grandchildren.
Let's take this caller here,
and the example that had to inspire other people.
Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Good morning, Joseph. Morning to Raymond and morning to Val. As somebody who was intimately involved in the revolutionary process, let me say this. First of all, Maurice Bishop is quoted have said by Lloyd Jones that reading and studying a constant habit of a conscious people. Reading and studying are conscious habits of a conscious people. If we examine current situation, this cannot be admitted that we are conscious people. We are diverse. When you consider the emphasis on learning and education, some of the things that was done at the collapse of the revolution was one, we burned the books, we dumped the books because they were published in Cuba, even though they were Grenadian content. Also, we asked the students who were abroad to come back so that we can give them scholarship, which they never got in the main. And somebody was on your program recently, Joseph, and they admit that. Then look at today. We don't have a library. I mean, tell me something. I mean, have we really continued on the revolutionary path? No. Because in addition to that, one of the other things that was attempted before and after the invasion, we had a lot of volunteer people having evening class, and so I was part of it. And the government at the time made sure that this was clamped down on. Because, of course, to them, there were communists there. The same thing they did with the various organizations where learning takes place, whether the youth organization, the women organizations, all of these things was put into reverse. So when you look at what happened on March 13th, the hope it gave, the confidence it brought, Leslie Pierre, who was one of the first opponents of the revolution, in a lecture he gave at Tampere, which I attended, said one of the things he must admit is that the revolution brought to people is a national pride. Do we have really national pride? And I know I could go on and on, but I'm sorry, I will limit myself here.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. We need to answer ourselves these questions.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Nurse, your thoughts on the caller? Would you agree that we have regressed in terms of the trajectory that we were on after 4.5 years? And yes, while there's still some vestige of it, it is some of our social structures that we have, the NIS, commercial bodies and all of that, we still the airport, remnants of that period. Do you get the sense, based on the start that we got in that 4.5 years, that Grenada should be more advanced as a people?
I would definitely say yes. I tracing back to what Val mentioned a while ago about the CP and the literacy education that went on in Grenada. I was on the ground in the first year of the revolution, and I taught at the Anglican High School. And then I went to Cuba and came back, and I went to work in the Ministry of Mobilization and Construction as the former Ministry of Works under Selvin Strong. And I was in the account department taking charge of the major road work that was going on, the western main road and the eastern main road, that was the road in the hole, or the hole in the road on the eastern side. They became two beautiful highways just around the 1980s, just after that. And I had one experience where this worker, an old man, in those days when you're small, you call people old. So he was maybe younger than me today, going on 3 scores and 5. He was younger than that. And he had to just sign his name for the invoice to go to the treasury to collect his fortnight pay. I saw this man, but I didn't know who he was. He sweat. He almost fainted because why? He couldn't sign his name, and normally you just had to put an X for him, but I was a new clerk at the moment. I had no idea of the workers until one of the senior ladies called me and said, "Nurse, come here, nurse, he come." And she told me what I need to do for this old man. He was so relieved after I got back to the counter and just finished off his stuff and even took it for him straight to the treasury because it was already 11:45 that Friday and he had to come back next Monday morning from Sutton. So I saw that situation. I also saw and went out into the field and did those type of scenario of teaching. So the revolution had set a pace for people to become interested in learning, and we can see it today. My kids and the kids of many of my friends of that era, because of us going abroad and study, which was not part of our household background, most of my friends, their kids are all kind of degrees and doing all kind of major jobs all over the world. So that is one of the aspects, the multiplier effect of that period just with respect to education. And I will tell you, I come out here to Germany. I also helped to educate the Germans. What happened? When I came here, I couldn't get a letter to send to Grenada or receive one because these Germans here in Germany, they didn't know where Grenada was. Look at this map and have it falling apart. It's the map I would show. Grenada is here. Send my letter there, and it would take about 8 weeks to go and come. And one of these issues, when Morris landed here, the Comedian landed in 1982, it was the first time that and up to today, there are only 3 times Grenada came up in the news, only just last week, because of that bad incident. It's the 4th time that Grenada came into the news in the 45 years that I'm here. So when Morris landed, the pages of the newspaper were filled for 2 weeks long, and the idea of people loving Grenada, you'll find today the GIZ that is doing all the climate change works in Grenada is because of that bilateral that has been developed under the NDC government in 2013 while I was there, and many other situations. So education and going forward with the revolution and his program, I would simply say, of the parts of the revolution of the 1983 period is not to say that the Grenada Revolution has died. It is simply that it has been postponed for a period of time, and we should just take up from where we left off and use some of the blueprints that are there for the positivity of the development of Grenada. And I could list the numerous benefits that the revolution has brought to us besides education, the MNIB.
Let's just take this telephone call, Dr. Nurse, before we get into some of those benefits. Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Good morning, Mr. Cadore, and good morning to your guests, whether or not they can hear me. Long live March 13th, 1979. The closest Grenada has ever gotten, has ever reached, has ever been to its full emancipation. Cursed are those who betrayed it. I repeat that part of it. Cursed are those who betrayed the revolution. Started yes in a coup d'etat. That the only way we were able to take power, as was established by John Locke as far as the 17th century. When abusers usurp the rights of a people, then the road to revolution becomes clear. And rebellion and revolt become the rights of the people. That is what brought the revolutionary process in Grenada. But I want to stress as I end here on that component of literacy and the work done by that young lady, Ms. Val, over the years, I recall. Within 4.5 years, we were able to demonstrate, in other words, it was tried, tested, and proven that education of a nation from the roots upward is the only way to bring about understanding and development of your culture and understanding of who you are, to enhance the people with the capacity to be politically literate, develop political consciousness, to bring about the understanding enough voluntarism to a country, which is the thing that we worked very hard in this country as all those who participated to develop this country, and it has proven that even today we enjoy ourselves from it. Sacrifice and sacrificial work. And above all, whereas conscientiousness. These are the things that were employed during that short period of time. The revolution did well for Grenada. Yes, there were some abuses and otherwise, but the cost that was paid can never even suffice. No 4.5 years in this here country, ever in its history, can compare with the 4.5 years of the People's Revolution of 1979 to 83. I repeat before I go, cursed be those who betrayed it. Have a nice day, William, Mr. Gentleman, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Val, we've turned the corner as a people. And many times we tell ourselves that growth and progress is by closing our minds to the reality of our past. And we do that in an attempt to usher in a new dispensation. When in reality, sometimes what we need to do is not necessarily forget our past, Accept the reality of our past. Take what we can from it, build on it, and advance ourselves as a people. But very often you get the argument that has never happened. We tend to, because of the propaganda, and a lot of these negative elements, and it comes back to the realities that we refuse to think for ourselves. We prefer, even now as a people, hearsay, brango, old talk, rather than open the book, read, and improve ourselves.
I want to take the opportunity to link a number of things as they are occurring in my mind. One of the greatest assets and achievements of the revolution is the mobilization of social capital. Meaning that if you were to build a house, for example, and you were able to get your neighbor's labor, the capital you would have spent for labor, you were able to get it from your community, from your friends and your network. And the revolution used that very well, mobilized that very well. And this morning when I was reflecting and preparing for this interview, I thought about the fact that our ancestors taught us about social capital. The Maroons that we did to build a house and to work the fields use social capital. The revolution used that. And people underestimate the value of that. But I want to take it from the traditions of our ancestors to the era of the revolution that highlighted it and used it in a different way to today.
Right.
I didn't want to leave without mentioning our sadness as a result of the killing of the young girl, or young sister, Esther, or whatever her name. Forgive me if I didn't get her name right in Carriacou.
Oh, yes. Tragic.
Tragic, especially on International Women's Day. When you think about all the gains of the revolution, the institutionalization of women's rights, among other things, the gains in the housing, etc., etc., but women as 50% of our people and our population, of our human resource, of the best resource that we have. And the progress they have made, if any of the reports that we hear are correct, that this child may have reported abuse in her home and therefore may have even paid with her life for it. I don't know how true it is, but I'm saying that if that is the case, it means that she benefited from what the education of women has produced or resulted in over time and will continue to result in. And so the element of that, which then asks or exhorts our men to do differently and to protect our women. I make this appeal to stand with our women and protect them. But it also reflects on the issue of the crime in the country that has to do with crime against children and women, but also other crimes in the society. And I want to use that opportunity to commend the Prime Minister's announcement yesterday of setting up a national advisory committee to deal with the national security issue. Because guess what? To address these problems, if we take the lessons of the revolution, we are again going to apply social capital to that, the experience of all these people who are going to serve on that committee to help us address this issue of crime and to root our initiatives for addressing crime in our community. So if nothing else, that's one of the lessons that I think we could take forward as we look forward from 50 years.
One of the lessons, Dr. Nurse, so, I mean, we know time is not our own, and we're getting ready to wrap. It's a conversation that we need to continue. I think we all share that common consensus that we have missed an opportunity. We were given a start. It's like a relay. First leg went well for GBSS. Second leg went well for GBSS. Third leg went well. But somehow, Dr. Nurse, the man that was responsible for taking us home, for some reason, he pulled up pig in a cramp. And we missed out an opportunity for another goal. Your thoughts as we wrap?
Nice analogy.
To put the revolution of 1979, March 13th, and relating it to 45 years, and that coincides with our 50th year of our golden jubileum. As a geologist, I would quote the main principle of geology, which is in German the Leitsatz der Geologie, which simply means the past is the key to the present and the future. And as Bob Marley would say, no know your past, no know your future. So the things that I've seen in the revolution, and even before the revolution, there was one big billboard that used to be at the junction, Lucas Street, San Sophie, when you're going into Observatory Road there. And in the 1960s, that big billboard was simply Johnny Walker Scotch Whiskey, born 1820 and still going strong. When the revolution triumphed in 1979, you had these billboards all over the country instead of what we may have today, billboards that just express the sale of a company and advertisement. The type of advertisement that we had on those billboards was eat what you grow and grow what you eat. And these were the type of things that you walk around, drove around Grenada, and automatically, if you were not involved in as a direct cadre from the NGM, your appetite was wet and you decided to get involved. So I will simply culminate by simply saying that the revolution of 1979 didn't die in 1983. It is simply an unfinished business, but has left an impression on the world outside of the Caribbean and beyond. It is simply referred to a big revolution in a small country, and I think my job today is to continue that process through education, mentoring, giving back to Grenada, and to help to inspire all Grenadians to reconcile, get on board, and let us see if we can go into our hearts and speak to our hearts and say, sorry, I forgive, or sorry, right. I regret what I have done.
Thank you very much, sir. I think that's just the ideal encapsulation. Indeed, 45 years on Grenada, we continue to labor, we continue to hold on to a lot that we do not understand. And very often we hold on because we don't understand. We hold on because of in the absence of information, we're not able to make that objective evaluation in our heads. That yes, the intention, and very often you question not what always a man's action, but his intention. And yesterday I said it and I will say it again, in economics it's referred to as the opportunity cost. That which must be given up in order to obtain the next best alternative for us as a people. For our young people, there's sacrifices that needs to be made. The amount of hours you commit to your books. We've gotten the start. What's the opportunity cost? It costs us a lot. And I think we do not want to squander the opportunities. Those who lost their lives, they became martyrs for us. And let's not squander the opportunity that they gave us so that we continue to build, advance as one people, as we maintain our consciousness in God. Until then, so long, everybody. Again, reminding you that the road knee leads to the National Current James Athletic Stadium. It is day 2 of Intercall. In the girls, the St. Andrews Anglican. In the girls, the St. David's Catholic Secondary. They're out front on 62 points. The Anglican High School on 56. In the boys, Sassy's out front, separated only by a meager 1.5 points. The Presentation Brothers College, they are in 3rd place. Today is day 2. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. Until then, so long, everybody. Take care. All the best.